Over the last few years, Brazil has been facing a political, economical, ethical, and institutional crisis after 13 years under the Workers' Party administration. The country sunk into its greatest recession in history, which raised the unemployment rate, affecting over 14 million people. Several corruption scandals increased the country's social tension and political polarization. The car wash operation became the most important anti-corruption initiative ever seen in Brazil. The combined forces of the federal police, the public prosecution service, and part of the judiciary resulted in almost 240 sentences of 159 politicians and well-known businessmen, including Brazil's former president, as well as returning close to 40 billion reais of embezzled money to the population. The lack of political credibility, allied with the crimes committed by the former president and the party's involvement with corruption scandals, led to the impeachment of the former president in 2016. Between the years of 2016 and 2018, Brazil started a slow economic recovery. In 2018, Brazil went to the polls to choose a new president. The Congressman Jair Bolsonaro united the anti-PT, anti-corruption, and anti-system factions, consolidating all the dissatisfaction with the left wing, and won the election. Elected with 57 million votes, Bolsonaro formed a government supported by the most conservative segments apart from political parties. Paulo Guedes, who holds a PhD degree from Chicago University, was chosen to lead the revamp of the economy. As Minister of Economy, he is regaining Brazil's credibility with foreign investors, as well as continuing the reforms the country needs. The former judge, Sergio Moro, was summoned to lead public security and justice matters, as well as the fight against corruption and general criminality. Responsible for the car wash operation, he became a symbol of the fight against white-collar crimes in Brazil. Congress has also played a vital role regarding the approval of the reform agenda. Under the chairmanship of Rodrigo Maia, the DEM party leads the reform in the House, and Davi Alcolumbre leads as the president of the Senate. With the Social Security reform, the country has improved the fiscal balance. With the undergone reforms, Brazil has begun to overcome the crisis. Inflation rate has dropped to 3%. The projected 2019 GDP increase is 1% after years of decline. For 2020, the projected GDP increase is 2%. The country risk and monetary interest rates have plummeted. Over 700,000 new jobs were created this year. As for international affairs, the Bolsonaro government has repositioned the Brazilian diplomacy, set a closer approach with countries such as the United States, and an economic integration with governments supporting free market and free enterprise is taking place. In Latin America, the Bolsonaro government opposes left-wing populists and illegitimate governments such as Venezuela. The DEM party strengthened with the crisis. Its opposition as a democratic, right-wing conservative party resulted in constant clashes with PT over the 13 years in which they were in office. During this time, the DEM increased by 50% its representation in the House of Representatives, while also doubling its size in the Senate. There are currently 27 congressmen, 52 state deputies, and 6 senators, as well as 3 governors, 276 mayors, and 3 federal ministers. The DEM party is engaged to support the reform agenda, thus reinstating the country's ability for vigorous economic growth.
Aqui estaremos para fazer avançar a reforma tributária, que será essencial ao lado da reforma da Previdência e da reforma do Estado para destravar a economia e gerar um novo momento de crescimento, prosperidade e, sobretudo, geração de empregos em nosso país.
O Brasil está saindo da mais grave crise econômica, social e política da sua história. E os democratas têm liderado a agenda de votações a partir das 2 casas do Parlamento brasileiro, para que a gente possa avançar cada vez mais no sentido de que a economia do Brasil se integre ao mundo e volte a ter a força e a liderança que sempre exerceu em toda a América Latina, priorizando a garantia da chamada segurança jurídica, amigável à economia de mercado e, ao mesmo tempo, proporcionando também uma agenda de reformas que contribua para maior justiça social, com geração de empregos e crescimento econômico.